Okay. Hello guys, this is Tahiri Divine, also known as Diana the Metaphysical Midwife. I am here with you guys to share a message that was given to me by the Great Mother, and so I am going to share some wisdom that has been on my heart for quite some time. I just didn't know how to articulate it or verbalize it as of yet. But hello, thank you for coming in, everyone. I'll just give you guys a few more moments to get situated because I have a really important message. Before I get started on that, let's go ahead and get to some housekeeping. Again, my name is Tahiri Divine, also known as Diana the Metaphysical Midwife. You can find me on all social sites as Tahiri Divine. I would highly recommend that you join my mailing list. You can do so by the links in the description. If you download my free workbook, it is a workbook to help you get started with the foundation of who you are. So I call it the Millennial Life Hack. It's a free downloadable workbook where it gives you some guidance and some questions to really unpack yourself to find out, to take you to who you are on the root level. Who are you on a root core? So it's a really nice starting foundational workbook for those who are interested in really unpacking oneself and finding out who they are to the core and then building on themselves from there. So you can find that workbook in my link in my description of my Instagram post. It's the download the free workbook. Go ahead and do that. That's how you can join my mailing list. Or if you go to my blog site, tahiridivine.com, you can join my mailing list there as well. All right, so we have a few people that are in. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. So today we're talking about the triple goddess, right? The mother, so we'll start from, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. A lot of us may be familiar with the mother, the maiden, the crone archetypes, especially if you were on this goddess path, divine feminine path. You came across this information at some point in your life, and now that you probably even find some identity within yourself as far as relating to which phase of womanhood you are, because from the understanding is the triple goddess is the threefold unfolding of the divine feminine. So it's her maiden, the girlhood self, then it's the mother, then you have the crone, who's the wise older woman. However, while these are really great archetypes to begin with, as I have traversed in my journey of the divine feminine, of the divine mother rising within me, there were some aspects of how we know it today, the triple goddess or each archetype, that's very much laced in patriarchal ideals. So I want to go ahead and discuss some of that with you guys, and then just so we can have a different understanding on how we relate to ourselves, the divine mother, and then to other women. Okay, so let's start with it. So what do I mean when I say the triple goddess as we know it is laced with patriarchal deception? Let's start with the journey of woman, okay? So as women, we understand there's a phase we go through. You have your girlhood phase, you have your adolescent to young adult woman phase, and then you have your adult to your older phase. So it's kind of like, if you want to say our life phases can be conveniently compartmentalized in three aspects of who we are. However, within these compartmentalizing of the maiden, the mother, and the crone, the identities on how these women are, or how these phases of life is perceived, is very much perceived through the male identification or through the male gaze. Let's start with the maiden concept, okay? In today's society, what we have been taught as little girls is this aspect of being the virginal daughter, or being the good little girl, or being daddy's little girl, right? That has been the overarching theme when it comes to the identity of woman, particularly in her girl phase, as being identified by her father. We see this take place as far as when a woman gets with the man, and particularly has a child with the man, the children will take on the name or the legacy of the father. And so in your girlhoodness, your identity is based on who your father is. And we know this to be true because if you were born out of wedlock, then those children are called bastard children, okay? So the identity is still very much laced in patriarchal identifications or in relating to the male on how you are as a male. So much of our early phases of our life is very much compartmentalized and very much identified as being daddy's little girl, being the good girl. Even if it's not a daddy involved, it's this aspect of being the good girl so that so that you can appease men. So we're taught early on how to appease men. So this is one aspect, and I'm talking on the maidenhood, is used as a tool of patriarchal deception. Now, I'm not saying that patriarchy itself created the concept of the triple goddess. Please follow me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying as we know it today and somewhat as we practice and identify these archetypes, it's very much laced and weaved through how men or the male identifies what the womanhood journey. So I'm using this aspect of going through the archetypes as a way to re-identify what it means to be a woman and what is the womanhood journey, particularly since I am of this ethnic background of Black journey. What is the Black womanhood journey, and how does these archetypes that are laced with patriarchal ideals, how does it not demonize, but that is one aspect of it, but how does it limit our perspective as who we are and what we are as women? Okay. Hey, thank you ladies for coming in. So we're starting with the maiden archetype. The maiden archetype is particularly a girl, even up to her young adolescent years when she starts to hit puberty. The maiden aspect is really the time of a woman's life before she has any wisdom, all right? Before she's even aware of her sexual energy. This is unbridled, a great way to explain this energy. If you guys are familiar with the goddess Kuan Yin, there's a really good oracle deck. I actually have the pocket version. This one right here, the Kuan Yin oracle deck, this represents the goddess Kuan Yin, who is an Asiatic goddess. It represents her in her young maidenhood phase as far as her wisdom is being taught. And what I see from this aspect of taking that maiden girl, it's your wild time, right? This is the time when, and what I mean by wild, I don't mean like, oh, you're out here sleeping around. No, I'm talking about your wild, untamed, unbridled self. You are just who you are. If you ever see children playing, they're not concerned about what the adults tell them to look like and be like. Children just be and do. They live in the present moment. So it's that unbridled energy that's just in the present moment of self, discovery of self. That's what the maidenhood is. It's the discovery of self. Then there comes a time when she reaches her adolescent to what we call the mother phase, where she is now aware of her sexuality, aware of the effects that she has and the responsibility that comes with her awareness. Now, I call it, the reason why the mother phase is still identified through the male perspective is because it's still putting this aspect that you can only be your mother if you are physically birthing a child for the man. So what the mother phase truly is, it's not about having physical children, although that's been what the identification of this archetype has been, is about having physical children. Actually birthing and rearing children is what the mother phase has been, or the mother archetype has been perpetrated into the patriarchal ideal. What the mother phase is, it's the sense of awareness and responsibility that comes to your awareness. So now that you have went through your girlhood phase, you're in your mother phase, because now you recognize your sensuality, you recognize your inner power, and there's responsibility that comes with this power. And we're talking a lot about this sexual energy because this is definitely a part of the human experience just as much as part of your spiritual experience. And as a woman, your sensuality and sexuality has been regulated so much. And if you don't believe me, we can look at all the laws that regulate women's bodies, and there's little to no laws that regulate anything in the man's body. So women has been regulated as being a mother means having a physical child, when actually being a mother is when you're able to harness your own energy and be responsible for it. You nurturing it as if this is your child. You're taking yourself as a child and nurturing yourself, pouring into yourself the way a physical mother would do for a physical actual child. So the mother archetype should be the archetype of personal accountability. However, it has been identified and re-identified through patriarchy as having physical children and also cutting you off from your sexual sensuality self, because we see this complex plays out through the duo or the dynamic of the mother and the whore. All right, the Madonna and the whore. So we're split between these two ideals, as if the mother can't be both. The mother can't be a sexual embodiment and still be a mom at the same time. I hope you guys are following. I'm trying to read some of your comments here. Yay, yay. So you guys are definitely following along. If you guys have any questions for me, please definitely put them in the comments here, because I'm definitely here to share. So let's go ahead with the, there's another part I want to go with the mother. So the mother archetype is has been presented as the birther of the male lineage or the male legacy. It is the abundant giver who is a willful participant to be the sacrifice of her own identity. So let me read that again. The mother archetype through patriarchy is seen as the abundant giver, and she is willful participant and being the sacrificing of her own self-identity. Okay, yes, you guys are following. Okay, so you guys are getting me what I'm saying. How patriarchy has taken the mother archetype as a woman who is always giving up herself. She never speaks up. She's always giving. She's always willing to put herself as the sacrifice for the men or for children. It's like she has no identity outside of being a mom, outside of being the mother. Yeah, okay, you guys get what I'm saying. So I want us to separate this identity of what the men have told us what a mother is and start asking a different set of questions, saying, well, how do I really relate to my mother energy if I don't physically want to be a mother? Well, the way you relate to the great mother energy is taking accountability for your own actions and your own creations, whether they are children or whether they are a business, whether they are your own sexuality, whether it's your goals, your identity of self, taking accountability of that and recognizing the responsibility you have to yourself and how that plays out into the greater perspective. Okay, so I'm going to leave the mother archetype there, and I'm going to go into the next archetype, the crone. Now, the crone archetype has really been separated from our identity for quite some long time. Typically, we see this happen with women who are of a certain age. Typically, they say the age is like 35, when a woman's supposed to hit the wall, and her sexual market value is no longer as great as if she was in her maiden phase, like 13 to 26 or 25 is considered to be your maiden phase, right? And so what the crone aspect has been done, she has completely been erased from our consciousness for quite some time as far as being a productive part of citizenship or a productive part of the world. Let me read this comment. It says, someone gave me the Giving Tree to read to my son. I read it once and I felt so horrible that I threw the book away. Oh my God, you see, yes. And you see, these are just little slick ways on where they play into our consciousness as far as, because for those who don't know, familiar with the Giving Tree, that book is pretty much of this story of a forever giver, forever giving, never being reciprocated, right? And it teaches our children that women are always supposed to self-sacrifice, and then also we're conditioned as women to not speak up, to not be the troublemaker, to not stand firm in your solid your ground, and that plays into society as we get older and how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to the men in our life and also to women. And so we're having a shifting in consciousness and understanding that there is more than the identifications that the male has given us, or the male gaze, or the male perspective. All right, so back to the crone. So the crone, through the patriarchy eyes, she's washed up, she's old, she's considered ugly, she is against or an act of war towards the younger archetypes. So we see this played out in a lot of, I love medieval kind of genre movies and books. I love that time period of the Dark Ages and the medieval and the kings and knights. I love that. Give me Dungeons, Dragons all day, every day. And we see this aspect of the crone. Let's go with Disney. They have really portrayed this a lot. Snow White is a good example, how the evil queen, she was the crone archetype that felt challenged by the maiden, Snow White. So therefore, she had to take out Snow White versus taking Snow White under her wing to teach her the ways of the world. She had to take her out because she was a challenge to her. So this is what the patriarchy has done. It has taken the maiden phase and then the crone phase to be at war with each other, and then the mother, she's too busy being a mother. She's too busy having babies. She's too busy giving of herself. She's too busy doing all these things, Betty home crocker, whatever it is, Betty maker, homemaker, that she's not even paying attention to either the daughter or her mother, right? So we have the maiden and the crone who are at war with each other, and that benefits the patriarchal identity and the patriarchal ideology, because if you have the women at war with each other, the ages at war with each other, then they're not understanding or seeing how they benefit with each other, right? Another good showing of that is the movie Into the Woods. But yeah, so let's go back to it. She is depicted as being mean, grumpy. She may be witty and she may know the truth, but she is now bitter because of it. And so that is the depiction of how the crone archetype is visualized or given the perspective through patriarchy. But let's look at her from the Divine Mother perspective, and what's the better way to look at her. I just woke my cat up. So the crone is really the embodiment of all energies, the maiden, the mother, and herself. She is the one that is wise. She has been through life. She has loved and she has lost. She is the representation of death. And this is another reason too why patriarchy shuns her away, because death is typically seen as a male or a masculine, use the word masculine, a masculine trait, when in actuality, death in life is all feminine, and it's all the feminine aspect, because the maiden can represent the birthing aspect or coming into life, as the crone represents the exiting of life, right? And it's really not the exiting of life, it's the exiting of one ideal of life to be birthed into another new ideal of life. So it's really a renewal. And that's why I really love this Cancer energy, because Cancer energy gives me the crone archetype energy. I know a lot of people may say Capricorn, but I think Capricorn and Cancer, since they are opposite of each other, they are both an even structure of how that crone energy works with each other, because of the nurturing, mothering aspect of giving wisdom and then giving that structure and discipline to get you over to the next side. So it works tandem with each other. So I want us to do is to redefine our identity with our collective. Oh, excuse me. I want to go back into the crone through the mother. Excuse me. Let me go back to real quick. So the crone archetype is the embodiment of all. She is the wisdom that we all seek to have, whether we're male or female. She embodies it, everything. She's in the phase where she no longer has her menstrual, right? And if we know anything about the magic of the menstrual, which I won't get into this live, but I'll bring that up in another live, is that now that she has no longer exiting or releasing her blood, it's all inside her. All that wisdom and all that magical power is now locked, stored inside her, and she's the most magical and the most powerful archetype that is there. And to cut her off, or to not acknowledge her, or to not utilize her wisdom, it brings so much. We see how the world is topsy-turvy when we don't utilize the crone's wisdom, right? Or when we demonize the crone. Great day, goddess. Hello. Empress Lazuli. Hello. The moon effects on the womb. Exactly. And I'm going to do another live talking specifically about moon phases. And there's another thing going on with the moon, but I won't get into that today. But the moon is not what we think it is. Let's just say that. But it does affect our womb cycles. It really does. So I'm bringing up this conversation is because I would like us to re-identify or redefine our identity when it comes to these archetypes, as far as now looking at it through a woman's perspective. What as a woman, because we're women here, right? We know what it's like to be a girl. We know what it's like to go to traverse through the journey of girlhood to maidenhood, or young adulthood to womanhood, and really take in our own experiences. How much of our experiences have we been identified through men, or have our experiences been identified through women? And it may be a little bit of both, but let's really take time to break these things down and redefine what that plays out. If we were to identify these three archetypes through the Divine Mother, what would those experiences look like? What would we rename these archetypes? Would they get a new title? Will we keep the same title, but then just redefine what they mean for our own lives, and how we pass that information on to the daughters and sons that are coming after us, whether it's our own physical children or not? I really, what one of my passions is, for those who don't know, if you guys care about educational background, I was an African American studies major with a focus on women and gender studies. So I have a lot of this information that I love to share with everybody as far as what is it to be womanhood? What is womanhood? What is Black womanhood? What is this experience currently? And then what do we want the experience to be? Because we see our world has changed. We're no longer living in the world that our parents raised us for, right? I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I recognize that it's a different world that she's going to grow up and traverse as a woman into, and what wisdom that I can bestow to her while in this experience of this new frontier, this new journey of womanhood. How can we redefine it and make it more about her personal journey as woman, as female, and not so much about the views of what men perceive her journey should be and what outsiders perceive it to be, right? So that's just the charge I want to share with you guys as far as looking into these different archetypes for yourself and see, do you resonate with the archetypes as it is already presented, or does it need a redefinition? And how do you redefine that, and how will that affect your everyday life and the collective consciousness as we continue to have this conversation about women and the womanhood journey? All right, ladies and gents, if there's any questions or any comments, go ahead. This is the time to do so now. I'd definitely love to hear what you all have to say on what I presented. I see some Ashes here. Let me scroll back up. I know I said some more. Hey, hello, Laura Nicole. Hello, E Queen. Hello, Grace. Miss Amby 83. Hello. Dream Talk. Breathe the Free. Radiant Life. Ashley. I like that name. Yimmy King. Hello, sir. Man, I'm gonna mess this up. I'm so sorry. Tutu. Mentalist, yes. For my sisters, 3-3. Okay, yes. Thank you for sharing. Read 3 free. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Well, if we don't have anything, oh wait, I have something. What are your suggestions on the best practice for this full moon for the 4th and 5th? Yes, I'm actually I'm doing another live later today about that. But since you're asking, we can talk about it right now. So this full moon is definitely going to be, it's a releasing. And what I really believe this moon is for us to do, like, I know we hear this every single time, but this is going to be really important. It's really going to be important for us to release the old structure. And this is why I brought up the whole triple goddess aspect, is because we have to release the old structures of life that does not serve us. We have to reevaluate some things and relationships. A lot of these aspects of wherever you feel letting go and release, you have to release it, because the full moon's about releasing something. And with it being specifically in Capricorn, it's specifically about some type of structural organization or identification that has to be let go. And so I'm going to go more into that. And I'm going to be doing a free live meditation, full moon meditation on Sunday. So I'll make sure I leave the links on my link for you guys. I should have had that ready before I started, but I was going to go live later today to talk about it. So I'll go live later today and talk about the free guided meditation that I'll be hosting. If you guys want to be a part of that this Sunday, then definitely keep up with me in my feed, because I'll be sharing that. Let's see. I love when you go live. I want to hear more on every topic you touched on. Definitely. Clearing spiritual bath recipes. Oh my God, you guys know I'm working on that right now. Okay, let me tell you something I'm passionate about. I am passionate about spiritual protection. I don't feel that the spiritual community talks about this enough. I feel like they give us a lot of the conversation of how to connect with gods, goddesses, and deities, and clearing energy, those are all good. Those are all good. I'm not against those things. However, I feel like as far as talking about protection, I don't think that part is really stressed out enough. And I'm going to be going, I'm going to talk more about that. But cleansing spiritual bath recipes, I'm actually making a book right now, guys. You guys are on it. I'm already writing a book right now to release this by the fall for you guys to have, as far as with some recipes and rituals. But you could use the rituals in the book, or you can create your own. It's just a great place to start on how to build up your spiritual protection, because especially in the times that we're in, we need to have that. We got to be spiritual protected, so we have to learn to be on defense so that we can get on offense. But if you don't have your defenses up, there's no way you can be on offense. Okay, So yeah, look out for that, guys. That is definitely coming. So I would consider myself transition from the maiden phase to the mother phase. Any tips? Oh, definitely. I actually have an article on toheardivine.com that I wrote. It was this time last year, where I felt myself really coming to my mother phase. And it's interesting because I had my child 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, I didn't feel like a mother, although I physically birthed a child. I didn't realize the mother phase until last year. Right around my 30th birthday, I recognized what it means to be a mother. So when you're going between your phases of maidenhood and motherhood, like I said, the maidenhood is just you're just wild, unbridled energy. And now that you're coming to recognize your energy and become more aware of it, that's when you start to tap into your mother energy. And this is one thing that people don't realize. The mother doesn't have all the answers. You know who the mother goes to? She seeks counsel from the crone. I would I highly recommend mentorship and coaching and counseling and guidance during your transition to your mother phase, and also while you're in your mother phase, is to have a group of counsels or some people that you trust who can help you stay on your path. But in order to do that, you have to know where your path is. So if you're really interested in learning more about your path, or working with me particularly to help guide you and help you see where you're at, definitely go in and book a consultation with me. I do free 15-minute consultations just to kind of get you see where you're at, to see where you might need to start, and we'll go from there. So thank you. Yeah. What is your perspective on Lilith in astrology? Okay, my perspective on Lilith is I'll say this. Lilith to me is still very much patriarchally defined. She's still being said to be a demon. She is still being said to be this sex kind of incubus kind of energy, when that's not what Lilith is. Lilith is actually, for those who don't know, I love etymology, so let's look at the etymology, or the breakdown of the word Lilith. When we look at Lilith, we get the word lithium. All right, lithium is what is used for batteries, to function and power batteries. So if I understand that's what lithium is, let's go into Lilith. This is a feminine energy that gives life and power to something. So sexuality is very much gives life and power to something, but it's more than just sexuality. It is the life-giving energy. It's the Shakti, okay? So when it comes to Lilith in your natal chart, I believe Lilith, the placement of where Lilith is where you actually give energy and life, all right? My placement with Lilith is in my 6th house, right? I'm a Virgo. It's Lilith in Virgo in my 6th house. So where I give life is routines and structure. I am a killerbomb.com when it comes to setting up routines. That's what I'm saying. If anybody's interested in having some type of routine, or making a personalized routine for yourself to get your spiritual path or your business or whatever that you're working on, I'm your girl. I love that stuff. That's where I give power to life at. So yeah, so my perspective on Lilith is where in your chart, or where you specifically give energy and life to. That's what Lilith represents. Your crown. Oh yeah, okay, let me tell you about this crown. So you guys, I got this crown from Chelsea Crowns. They are based in Australia, and I love her crowns. And so I just got my order. It just came in over the weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to wear this with my crown, right? Got to wear your crown, y'all, because you know it's Corona. It's the crown season. Got to have your crown. Is Saturn Crone path a reflection of the events that bring the maiden to the mother? Yes, and that's why I say Saturn. Oh my God, Saturn gets such a bad rep, y'all. Saturn gets such a bad rep. We know from antiquity days, for those who don't know, but for those who do, antiquity days, Saturn was our original sun, okay? Our sun. It was our original life giver. Saturn represents the archetype of the great mother, the black sun, the black goddess, the Kali Ma, Shakti, okay? So that's exactly what Saturn represents. And as far as your question is a reflection of the events that bring, yeah, okay, think of it like this. Saturn didn't always have rings. So somebody tried to bound, or something bounded the great mother, and in doing so, it left the earth, the daughter, on her own to now I'm getting to mythos. So I'm just gonna get to the mythos, and you guys can kind of follow from there, and we can talk more on a consultation to go deeper on where I get my information from. But so once Saturn was ringed up or held up, that's why you put the ring finger on your this finger represents Saturn. That's why they put the ring on it. They're binding you to something. When the great mother Crone was bounded, she no longer had the access to give knowledge and wisdom to the daughter. And so what we see now happen is the maiden is now producing these children unbeknownst to herself, unaware of how she's doing this. She just knows she's doing it. And you could say she's being spiritually raped. The mother archetype herself is oblivious because she was a maiden that was raped, if you want to say that, spiritually raped. And now she's a handmaiden of the patriarchal ideas, okay? So now we have the maiden and the mother who are completely lost in their phases or in their archetype identities, that they're at war with the crone. But there's a shifting happening that the ancient ones, the great ones, are reawakening, and Saturn is currently losing its rings right now. And the rings are plasma, and there's so much more I can go into that, the plasmic DNA and all of that information there. But yes, there is a reflection with Saturn, the crone path. There is a reflection on how the events that's taking place with the maiden and the mother is playing out today. However, there is a shifting that's taking place with the awakening of the great ones and the maiden and the mother coming into knowledge of self in a totally different way. Exactly. I have recipes of my own, but it's important to do, yeah, especially as a healer. Especially my people, my ladies and gents who are healers, who are teachers, who are in some aspect giving of their energy in some ways. You have to, it's even more important for you all to practice some type of spiritual protection and energy clearing. You have to do that. I know for myself, I have to clear myself every time I do a reading, because if I don't, I leave remnants. And what happens, you leave remnants of that energy that you were, working with. And it doesn't mean the person that you were working with negative or bad, but still you don't want to carry that energy in your aura field. So you definitely got to practice some type of cleansing, okay? Yeah, we need that. When you say path, I mean to refer to the wisdom of the world as the crone was. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me see. So, okay, you say when I say path, I mean to refer to the wisdom of the world as the crone knows it. Definitely, yeah, you're definitely on point. Yeah, yes, Yemi King, you're on point. What does your crown represent? I was reading a book that talked about wearing gold on your head like a halo. It was an alchemy thing. Yeah, so, okay. So you ever know, like, the pictures of Jesus from, like, back in the, I guess, what were those days considered, the Bible days, whatever. Jesus was always depicted with this golden halo. Beyonce has a song called I Can See Your Halo, Halo. So the halo was actually the representation of your crown. It's also a representation of your glory. It's also a representation of your divinity. So when you see those halos, that they're letting you know who those are. And also it's also a representation of melanin too. The Bible depicts and talks about that. If you guys break down the code words, and actually let me show you guys a really good book for my Bible scholars and readers to have. Let me see, can I turn this around? I don't know, can I turn this around? Oh yeah. I will highly recommend you guys get the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. Get this book. This is a very important book to have so that you are able to understand and break down the words of the Bible. I would also recommend you guys getting I don't have my Bible dictionary on here, a Concordia, and also an etymology book. Of course, have a Bible. If you can get yourself a King James version, do so. I have an NIV version because it's a little more easier for me to read. But I would definitely recommend having those on hand to help really understand what the Bible is saying, because it is a code book. And although dogma and religious organizations have taken it and tried to create something totally, they just created dogma out of it. So, but yeah, if you guys are interested into like a metaphysical Bible studies, I will so do it. Let me know, guys, if you guys like that kind of stuff. But yeah, so yeah, it definitely is an alchemy thing. A really good book if you want to start with alchemy would be The Idiot's Guide to Alchemy. That's a really good starting place to kind of break down just the basics of alchemy. And actually, when you start to read that book, you start to see that that storyline of alchemy is played out in a lot of our favorite shows and movies and books. So you'll start to recognize that. The first two letters of Lilith are the first two letters of life. No coincidence. Exactly. Life, Lilith, lithium, right there. You're a Virgo. I am a Virgo South Node. Lilith and Cancer in the 7th house. Ooh, okay. So you give life to relationships through the way you nurture yourself. That's how you give life. So intertwined, like when, look at how you nurture yourself and how that helps you in relationships and partnerships. I have Lilith in the 6th too, but it's in Cancer. Ooh, same thing. So it's about your routine for self-care. When you take care of yourself, that's how you have to create a routine. Yeah, that's one thing I've learned. I'm Virgo Lilith in the 6th house, so I know all about that. When I don't have my routines in place, child boo. And it's funny because my Lilith's in Virgo, my South Node's in Virgo, which that's my natural aspect and how I react to do things. However, with my North Node being in Pisces, I have to learn how to, yes, have your schedule, but allow yourself to be in flow with spirit at the same time. So I'm in this, well, I got it better now. So I'm better at creating a schedule, but being in flow with spirit. So definitely creating a routine. Thank you. I have Lilith conjunct my sun, Saturn, 6th house too. Oh, look. Okay. That's wow. Wow. Can you do a video on that? Yeah. You know, I'm going to do a video on the Lilith placement. So yeah, I'll do that on my YouTube channel, guys. So definitely look at Tahiri Divine is YouTube. Basic instructions before living. That's right. That's the Bible. Yes to metaphysical Bible studies. Okay, you guys like that. Definitely. Virgo moon, I feel you. Okay, yay, yay. Well, I'm so glad you guys came out today. Thank you guys for joining me on this discussion as far as the patriarchal deceptions that's been laced into the triple goddess and how we can kind of just redefine for ourselves what does that mean for us. One last announcement I should have did at the beginning. I am going to be hosting, guys, a movie film study. So I like to do book and film studies, and I'm doing one on the series, or not really series, on the movie Frozen. So if you guys have already seen Frozen and or Frozen 2, and you guys are interested in having it's more of a dark wisdom, let me call it that, a dark wisdom study on the Frozen movies. I'll be hosting that on Wednesday, July 15th. So you guys can actually sign up on my link. I'll have that in there after this live, so you guys can sign up for it. What we'll be doing is that you have to go see the movie prior to the event. So watch both movies. What we're going to do, we're going to take notes too. Take notes of what is the theme that you get from the characters, and also how is this relatable to life. So we're going to talk about the dark wisdom that was in the Frozen movies and how it relates today on the womanhood journey. Okay, so if you guys are interested in that, definitely go ahead. When I get off this live, I'm gonna put the link in my description so you guys can sign up for that, so that we can have a discussion on the dark wisdom of it and how it applies to today. I cracked the code. Oh, so okay, great. You cracked the code of that movie. Great. Then come join the discussion, honey, because I don't want to be the only one talking. But I got some things I want to say too. But I want to hear what y'all have to say. Wow, talking about connected. Okay. I think Moana's connected to the Great Mother. Exactly. That I wanted to do Moana first. However, with the Frozen and what's happening in current times, it just makes sense to do Frozen right now. So Moana's on my list, and I have a few other movies on my list that I want to put on there. But yeah, so we're going to do Moana too, because Moana's a hero's journey through the Great Mother. That's what Moana is about. So yes. So yes, I'm going to rewatch. Yeah, so if you guys take time to watch the Frozen 1 and 2, make notes to yourself and watch it with different set of eyes. You know, watch it with your metaphysical eye, your spiritual eye, and see what messages you pick up. And then on the 15th of July, when you guys sign up on that, you'll get the link to ours. It'll be like a Zoom meeting so we can all sit and see each other and talk and converse. Oh, the Bigfoot. Yeah, is that the missing link, the Bigfoot movie? That's a really good one too. I'm telling you, Disney and Pixar be dropping some heavy science and knowledge on us. But it's not going to just be Disney movies I want to do. There's going to be a lot of other movies. Like I want to do The Devil's Wear Prada. I want to do The Kama Sutra. There's a few, Into the Woods. So there's a few movies. Y'all can always suggest movies too, and books, because I have so many books that I think would be really great to have a study on as well and get some dark wisdom out of that. But all right, ladies, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we're talking about the triple goddess and some of the lacing of patriarchal deception in there and redefining womanhood in our journey. If you guys are interested in finding me on all my social sites, I am Tahiri Divine. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will talk to you all again later. And don't forget to always wear your crown. Okay? Bye, guys.